a lot of the BBC's natural history programmes over the years, they form part of my childhood. It's like it's what you grow up and you're surrounded by these things. They're not just documentaries; they're documenting the world for generation after generation. So it's an incredibly exciting thing to be doing, isn't it? Something like this.
Yeah, and I agree with Hans. It's enormously emotional, and that's and you can safely talk about this stuff without feeling embarrassed. There's no sort of, it's an overwhelming thing.
When you watch the making of these things as well, you know,
see the effort that goes into it.
Some poor guy in a wetsuit for 8 months,
minus 20. I'll just pop down the ice sinkhole thing, whatever you call it. For I'll be up in a bit. All right.
I would love to know how many hours, or how many days, weeks work is in every second of footage. I mean, it must be. It's just insane. It's
totally
amazing.
mental.
Yeah.
Really inspiring.
Yeah, and in a sort of a funny way, I mean, we are quite, I think by nature, quite flippant the way we talk about music or whatever. But I do realise that guy went down into the icy sinkhole, etc. And I do think there comes a bit of responsibility, and you do want to put the work in, and you do want to be, you want to honour this work.
Because the original song has got lyrics of turtles and jellyfish in it.
Yes, weirdly.
was this you sitting on the sofa watching the telly with a notebook while Blue Planet was on?
This was me lying on the sofa, trying to go back to sleep when I've been up too late with my son, 7 o'clock in the morning when he was small, and it coming in and out of my subconscious. And staying there, and especially stuff about the deep and about all these life forms that they discovered on that series, or that seemed to be the implication, that they managed to go so deep. They've discovered all these creatures that existed that we didn't know about, and that whole thing for me, the idea of discovering life that humanity doesn't know about, is to me one of the most profound kind of things, profound concepts, even if it's like discovering fossils, or the idea that creatures exist, that there's a history to where we live that we don't know anything about, that is going on and we don't know anything about it. To me is the most profound sort of spiritual expression of humanity when we discover it.
There's an implicit link between Blue Planet and obviously, ecological concern and your championing of those against ecological crime. Was that kind of part of the motivation?
Actually, now you say it kind of makes me think, I'll be honest, that the Blue Planet was probably, the original series was probably the thing. First it turned on my son to the whole thing. And he became obsessed, as you do, when you're growing up at that age, 5 or 6, and you've got all the books and you recite the statistics and all the Latin names, which is what you used to do. Freak me out.
Those 6 million mollusks.
What's their name in Latin now? And then a letter from Greenpeace came through about something or other, came through the house, and he picked it up and started reading it and said, "Dad, can we get involved in this?" We're like, "Yeah, sure, if you want to." So, and then we established links with Greenpeace, and anyway, I got involved in all this stuff over the years, and it started with being half asleep on the sofa watching the Blue Planet.
What else is happening in your worlds at the moment? You've come back off tour.
I live the most extreme life. I spent 40 years in a dark room by myself, and my mates basically went, "You got to get out of this room." Because I had stage fright. I mean, I still have stage fright. Then it turned into a full-blown 4.5 months tour.
As long as that?
Yeah.
And what else is happening in York and Greenwood world?
Films until the end of the year. Yeah, just finishing film music.
music. You look slightly exasperated by this prospect.
No, it's kind of fine.
You should have seen us in the van on the way here, both in the back with our laptops.
How are you? I'm fine. Headphones on, back to work.
Finale music.
Yeah, literally.
You must get off a lot of stuff.
No, well, that's the thing. You don't get Blue Planet all the time. So I mean, just like all of us. I mean, we did grow up with it, and it's so much of who we are. It really meant something to me.
You've just seen it. That was the first time you saw the music melded with the images. How did it feel?
It's always very overwhelming to watch anything you've been working on, because I don't know. I think the reason I carry on working is because I keep realizing could just be a little bit better here, whatever. But the footage is so magnificent and so fantastic. So really, I was just watching the images more. I'm sorry, I was watching the images more than I was listening to the music.
These documentaries are kind of, by their nature, they're really quite emotional things. I got goosebumps watching that. Did you get a similar feeling?
It goes from goosebumps to mild amusement at some of the creatures to I can't take it all in one go. I'm no good with video. I have to watch it several times before I understand what the hell's going on. So I'm not really a good person to ask. To me, it's I to be honest, I enjoy the sort of lack of pressure, like just doing the vocal, and everything else is Hans' problem. It's quite a nice feeling, frankly.
It was interesting what you were saying before we did the interview. You were talking about not wanting to make your performance and the arrangement and the performances of the orchestra too bombastic, because then it starts to interfere with what you're watching on the screen. I guess was that a big consideration for all of you?
Well, it was mainly for me, because I was going to be the one they were going to say you made it too bombastic. Music is by nature emotional, but I never want to be the person telling you what to feel. All I want to do is sort of open doors, make it like open doors, and you can come in and you can have whatever experience you want to have and still have autonomy about it. And as soon as it gets, as soon as the strings get a bit too tragic or a bit too full or a bit too bombastic, you're somehow taking away the autonomy that the listener has. And so I just always try to figure out how to err a little bit on the, leaving it open, just opening doors.
Yeah. And for you, is it just always just a joy to get involved in an orchestra?
Yes, well, I'm still, blown away by being in rooms with orchestras, and anything that encourages them to thrive is great, and there's still nothing like it, nothing like them. Yeah. It's great that Hans does all this music with these people. Yeah. It's a very, very important thing, I think.
For me, you're just telling a story, and for me, seriously, for me, always the most convincing language I can speak in is music. I always find words are sort of, sorry, Tom, but I find words hold you back from telling people the truth somehow, or they can be distorted. But I find it really hard to, and so I don't care if this is a 4-minute piece or that. I don't even know how long the whole series is, but it's long and there's a lot of music in it. All it lets you do is sort of dig deeper. But I mean, look, there are directors that hate me because I can spend days on one note, shoving one note around.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you fall into that camp? Are you obsessive when it comes to your soundtrack work?
But hang on, wait. It's not obsessive. Okay. It's just when it's right. But again, it's something. You can't explain it to somebody, but it's like sitting under an apple tree, with your hand outstretched, and plonks an apple that falls into your hand. That's going to be the right one. But you just know when it's right, and it's not. It goes beyond language.
Do you feel a similar way?
Yeah, I think something strange happens sometimes when you're watching footage and hearing music, and suddenly you experience something which is better than just the images and better than just the music, and it's like it's greater than, it's the old cliche, greater than some of its parts. You get this wonderful moment of the film being lifted, and that's really exciting to happen, and the music being lifted for sure, everything just being great suddenly.